A young girl is playing in her bedroom when she hears her mother's call to her from the kitchen, so she runs downstairs to meet her mother. As she's running through the hallway, the door to the cupboard under the stairs opens, and a hand reaches out and pulls her in. It's her mother. She whispers to her child, "Don't go in the kitchen." I heard it too. And that, my little pretties, was Mother's Call, a creepypasta. My final thoughts on this story? I have gonna say this right now. I first heard of this pasta, I think in 2017 or something. And I have to say, this is like one of the shortest creepypastas I've ever seen. Like, I don't have a problem with, short creepypastas. Like, everybody, can make, short stories, long stories, sometimes in the middle. It depending on, what it is, basically. So I could definitely say that this story actually had some pretty, interesting concept into this story. Now, basically this features a young girl, going on in her business about her day, but then all of a sudden, her mother pulls her into, a cupboard saying not to go in the kitchen. Well, mostly I could definitely say that even though this story is probably an old story, because by the looks of it, if I can, really predict when it was released, I'm actually going for the comments to see, but I think this story was written maybe in 2012, maybe. It was written maybe 2013 or 2012, I'm not really sure. It was one or the other. And this story is a pretty short pasta. Like, I've read tons of short creepypastas. I've read tons of short creepypastas, so yeah, there's that. But I could definitely say that this story is actually pretty short. I'm not gonna lie, it's a pretty short pasta. But I definitely have to say it's a pretty well-made pasta in regards to how good this is. Now, I definitely have to say that this story actually was pretty interesting, really well-made and detailed, and it actually was a really short pasta. It's still a pretty good one, to be honest. Like, when I first saw this pasta, I honestly was surprised of how good this story is, so I have not remembered hearing this pasta. Well, I probably did hear this pasta somewhere, I just am not really sure. But I could definitely say that this pasta actually was pretty well made. Now, I definitely have to say that this pasta was really short, but it's still a pretty good pasta for what it is. It's a pretty good pasta for what it is. It's still really good, I'm not gonna lie. It's a really good story. But I could recommend maybe if the story was a little longer or something. At least that way it would just give, a good explanation as to what's actually happening with why the mom and the daughter are hiding. Like, it barely explains it. Well, I think I kind of have, I'm just gonna say, I think it has to do with something that I'm gonna predict in here. Now, what I'm predicting is that there might have been somebody who broken into the house, which it is quite possible that it could be somebody broken in the house and probably sat there and decided to, you could definitely be honest, like, break in the house to steal something. It could be a burglar or something, because from what this is basically, I could definitely say that right now, that this is actually a pretty believable, a believability. Like, this story was actually pretty well made for what it is. Now, I could definitely say this story actually had a really good context to it. Even though it's a short story, I still have to say that this story actually provided pretty good context and pretty good well-made, detail with the story. Even though this is a short creepypasta, I still find this one to be rather cool. And it's a pretty interesting pasta. Well, I would suggest that, maybe this pasta could be, a little longer. Like, maybe if the story was a little longer, it could be, more explanation or something. At least that way it would be a lot more, believable in a way. But I definitely have to say that this story actually, it's still a pretty good story, I'm not gonna lie. It's a pretty good pasta, not gonna lie. I definitely have to say it's actually pretty well made in detail with this story. So, I definitely have to say that this story actually was interesting, well done and made. It actually provided a lot of great detail to it. Now, I could definitely say right now that this story, I would say the grammar is pretty good, along with the sentence structuring, the storyline, and the flow of it. It just went out very well made in detail. It actually provided pretty cool with what it was. Now, I definitely have to say that the story actually was believable. Yes, pretty freaky because this could happen to anybody, regardless of how old they are. This could happen to anybody. And I'm actually freaked out a little bit by this because this could actually be believable and it could happen to anyone. It's still a pretty good story, don't get me wrong. A lot of people I have seen have sat there and narrated this. So there is one thing I'm saying is that I've seen a couple of creepypastas people have sat there and, did this story. So I definitely have to say that this story actually provided some detail. So anyways, with that being the case, I don't know who the original author is, as I don't see it right now, because I'm looking at, to try and find out who the original author of the story is, and I don't see it. So, if I do find out who the original author is, I'll be sure to give him or her proper credit, because it's a pretty good story. Even though it's a short creepypasta, it's still a pretty good one. I can definitely say it's still a pretty good pasta, but I would wish that it was just a little bit longer, maybe providing more detail to what's happening, because then that way it would be more believable, and then we would get more understanding. So anyways, only with those minor issues, the whole story itself was actually pretty interesting, well made in detail, and it actually was really well done. So I definitely have to say that this story actually was interesting. And I definitely have to say that I really do find this story to be rather good. It's short, yes, but it's still a pretty good story. So I am going to be saying this right now. This is just simply my own personal opinion, and if you happen to disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these creepypastas, and this is simply my own personal thoughts. So my final rating of this story would have to be I guess you could say a 10 out of 10. A pretty good pasta, really good, really well made. It was awesome, really well done. So since I don't know who the original author is, I am going to leave it anonymous for now. If I do find out who the original author is, I will be sure to sit there and give him or her proper credit, because this was obviously a really well made story. So anyways, with that being the case, and with that being said, what did you guys think about this creepypasta? Did you all enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what we have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode, and if you happen to be brand new here on this channel, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload, because, I will be uploading videos every single day. So, as always, please roll the outro, because I'm